This is the book of Revelation, chapter 11, verse 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. So giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahawashi, Bahashem Rachakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, as well as the men that taught them, and peace and blessings to the 144,000, as well as the rest of the elect. This brother Taza Pai dropping in with the latest, all right, with news and prophecy. And so we're going to kick it off here at Revelation 11 and 14, all right? And again, which says the second woe is past. And this woe is in reference to the third world, well, the second world conflict, all right? So they're prophesied to be three. The second has passed, meaning the first two has already come into play and has passed. And so we are waiting on this third woe. And the prophecy here, the scripture is telling us that it's coming quickly. All right. So with the news that we have and how we see things playing out in the world today, we see everything shaping up beautifully to bring this third woe into play. All right. And the latest that took place in Ukraine is just another episode to bring us quickly, because here at Great Millstone, we hasten the day, all right? And so when we see things in the news that pertain to prophecy, that, you know, speeds prophecy along, for lack of a better term, all right, we praise Yahweh B'Hashem Yahawashi, which Yahweh is the Heavenly Father, and Yahawashi is his only begotten son. All right, so the second woe is past, right, which that took place 1939 to 1945. And so we're waiting on this third woe, which is here soon to come. All right, so this is Revelation chapter 6, verse 3. It says, "And when he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, 'Come and see.' And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword." All right, so this horse that was red is in reference to Esau, Edom. All right, and the proof of that is when you go into Genesis 25 and then Genesis 27. All right, and it tells you how Esau, being the eldest, that the first came out red. Genesis 25:25. But then, you know, when you go into Genesis 27, it speaks about how our father, Isaac, all right, both Esau, so-called white people, as well as Jacob, our forefather, all right, we both came from the same mother and father. So when he received his blessing from our father Isaac, it was told that he would be given the sword. By his sword, he would live. All right. So in these last days, the Most High would magnify that sword for the Most High's work to bring about the Most High's judgment. So this is the time that we're in. We're about to see that, all right? And I'm going to go to that right quick, just to make the point, and then we'll get to the actual news. So here in Genesis chapter 27, I'm not going to the whole account. I'm going to just get the actual point with Esau. You see how they even subheaded the title wrong, the stolen blessing? It wasn't stolen. But unless you see into this with spiritual eyes, you know, you might think that, but no, that was the work of the Most High. So we'll go right here to 37. So this is Genesis chapter 27, verse 37. It says, "And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, Behold, I have made him thy Lord. And was that not prophesied before they were even born, that the elder would serve the younger, showing that there was no thievery, no underhandedness involved at all. All right? And that was told in Genesis 25 that the elder would serve the younger. So it all just came into play the way the Most High wanted it to. All right? He wanted Esau to think he was slighted. But that was Esau's own nature. His own carnal nature is what lost him the birthright and the blessing. All right? So, again, Genesis chapter 27, verse 37, and Isaac answered and said unto Esau, behold, I have made him thy Lord. Let's get that. I'm going to go to Genesis 25. Them Edomite pastors, it's like they know in their spirit. They love calling Jacob crooked, and the thief and all of that. And I guess it's something in their spirit. And every time I hear them say that, it rubs me the wrong way. And that, because that wasn't the case. Yeah, Jacob finessed Esau, but that was only after, right, Esau sold his birthright. All right. So, let's see. Verse 23. So Genesis chapter 25, verse 23, it says, and the Lord said unto her, two nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. This is before they were even born. All right? So, what we read in here in Genesis 27 and 37 is the actual fulfillment of that prophecy. All right? That's why when you read Romans 9, and it says that before they were even born. You see? And this is why you got to have both Old and New Testament, right? Let's look at Romans 9. Lord say this was determined before they were even born. So if anybody want to get mad, get upset, you have to take it up with the Most High. So let's go here. Right there, verse 11. So Romans chapter 9, verse 11, for the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai according to election might stand. It's all about an election. All right? The chosen ones. For many are called, but few are chosen. An election. The chosen ones. For the Most High's purpose. Not that because the chosen ones did anything good, or that, those that was determined to be the vessels of dishonor, they done bad, but it wasn't nothing that they could do to get out of their determined lot. All right? So, again from the top, Romans 9 and 11, for the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai according to election might stand, not of works, but of him that called it, right, of the Most High. And then this is what we're going into. So I'll go here and read it. It was said unto her, the elder shall serve the younger. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. And that's just the way it is. All right? So we can go right back to Genesis 27. All right? So now you understand. And Genesis 27 and 37 again. And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, Behold, I have made him thy lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants. And with corn and wine have I sustained him, and what shall I do now unto thee, my son? All right. And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing? My father bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and thou shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. All right. So by the sword shall he live. So that brings us back to Revelation 6 and 4. And it says, And there went out another horse that was red, Esau Edom. And power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. All right. And that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. All right. So his blessing was to live by the sword. So in these last days, the Most High gave him a great sword. Okay. So he came into power by the sword, maintained his power by the sword in the form of the revised Roman Empire in our time. All right. This is Esau Edom, the so-called white people. And then he's going to go out. The Lord is going to magnify his sword, give him a greater sword to destroy his very own kingdom with. Okay? So to the news.
Now let's turn to some breaking news in the last half hour. And Ukraine claims to have hit more than 40 Russian bombers in what the country's security service says is a large-scale special operation aimed at destroying enemy bomber aircraft. Ukraine's released this footage, which it says shows a drone attack at the Belaya Air Base in Siberia. And on the footage, which I don't believe we are able to actually show you at the moment, but you can see explosions visible with smoke rising. Reports suggest other aircraft have been attacked at the Olenya Air Base near Murmansk. Well, Russian media is reporting the attack in Murmansk, but says air defences are working. Well, let's go straight to our World Affairs correspondent, Paul Adams, who is in Kyiv. Paul, this is just a developing story, so just tell us what more you can add to what we've said.
Yeah, it's certainly developing, and the information is coming thick and fast. You know, Ukrainians have experienced moments of euphoria when their military has conducted successful operations against major Russian military targets in the past. One thinks about the attack on the flagship of the Black Sea Fleet, the Moskva, and the attack on the Kerch Bridge, both of those back in 2022. Already people here are beginning to wonder whether what happened this morning is the most audacious operation so far. Attacks on 4 separate air bases, one of them that you just referred to is 4,000 kilometers from Ukraine's border, the other one up in the Arctic Circle, well over 1,000 kilometers. And if the Ukrainian officials are to be believed, a very, very significant toll in terms of Russia's strategic aviation. The pictures that we have seen, and there are a lot of them around now, show drones attacking large strategic bombers parked on the tarmac in those air bases. Now, we can't verify at this point the extent of the damage. The drones involved were probably quite small ones. It'll be interesting to find out how this operation was launched. Judging by the size of those drones, it was probably launched from inside Russia, which makes the attack even more audacious than it might be otherwise. But clearly, this is a very significant attack on the kinds of aircraft that Russia uses day in, day out to launch missiles against targets across the country. And by the way, last night's attack involving drones and ballistic and cruise missiles was the largest single Russian attack on Ukraine so far, with more than 470 drones. That's the largest single number of drones targeted at Ukraine in a single night. So, you know, as we ponder the possibility of a second round of peace talks in Istanbul tomorrow, it's hard to see how those talks can possibly yield anything of any great significance, if they happen at all.
Indeed. Paul Adams in Kyiv, thank you very much for that update. And we're just hearing on the AFP news agency that the Russian delegation is heading to Istanbul for those talks with Ukraine. They're quoting Russian news agencies. So, of course, it'll be interesting to see what comes out of those talks.
All right, so that's what's in the news. Things are ramping up. Things are heating up in the third woe arena. All right, this is where we are. Let me see. There's a few good ones.
Well, Russia has confirmed multiple air bases have come under drone attack in the Murmansk and Irkutsk regions. According to local witnesses, explosions were heard near the base in Murmansk and fires began in several places. That base is reportedly home to a number of long-range Russian bomber planes. It's located about 4,300 kilometers from the Ukrainian border. Well, let's go straight to Dorsa Jabari. She joins us now from the Russian capital. Dorsa, what are you hearing about this attack? This is obviously very, very far north.
Yes, well, according to Russian officials, at least two large air bases in Russia have come under Ukrainian drone attacks. Now, what we do know and can confirm, according to officials, is that the Belaya air base in Irkutsk region, that is about 4,300 kilometers from the Ukrainian border, came under drone attacks, as well as the Olyana air base that is in the Murmansk region, that is about 1,800 kilometers from the Ukrainian border. Now, what we understand, according to witnesses on the ground and officials, these drones were launched from nearby sites near the air bases. That means this was an elaborate operation, most likely by the Ukrainians, that involved a number of people inside Russia. According to officials in the Murmansk region, they are calling for calm within the local communities, and they're urging people not to post any videos on social media that could further cause panic among the local population. Now, this is the single largest attack that we've seen in one day across multiple military air bases inside Russia since the war began in February of 2022. What we do know is that these air bases are home to Russia's strategic air bombers that have been involved in launching attacks across Ukraine over the past 3 years. It is a very significant and dangerous development that we're seeing unfold within the past few hours here in Russia. We are waiting to hear any official comments from the Kremlin. What we do know is that, of course, the negotiations that are due to take place on Monday in Istanbul are still happening despite what we're seeing unfold on the ground.
Dorsa Jabari there with the very latest for us from Moscow. Thank you, Dorsa. Well, let's get...
All right, so there you heard it. And what's the point of having peace talks and y'all just, just right now performing military operations against one another? It makes no sense, from their standpoint. But from the standpoint of prophecy, as you see here, Isaiah 13 and 17, when you understand prophecy, it makes perfect sense. All right? Which says, Isaiah chapter 13, verse 17, "Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it." And the Medes are in reference to the Russians today. All right? Because they are in the land of the Medes. So if you look at the actual people, the Medes, going back to the nation of Japhet, one of the tribes of Japhet, they don't figure prominently in, these end time prophecies. It's all about Jacob and Esau. And then you have countries like, certain nations like Ishmael, Moab, even Ammon, but the main characters is Jacob and Esau. All right. Now, who's in the land of the Medes today? It's Esau, in the land of Russia. So this is what the Heavenly Father is talking about. He's going to stir up them Russian Edomites in the land of the Medes. All right. Because the Medes they not popping today. They had their time in the 500 BC. It's about 535. Let's see. Roughly 535, the Persians and the Medo-Persian Empire. Where they enjoyed a good 200 plus year reign, maybe a little bit longer. You know, at least 200 solid years of rulership. The Medes and the Persians, that was their times. In these last days, they're not, you know, they're not nobody to look out for, the actual Medes. It's talking about the Edomites in the land of the Medes, who are the Russians, all right? Ra'ash Shar, the chief prince. All right? Now, they do figure prominently in end-time prophecies because they're going to bring the judgment to the great whore. That's what this is speaking about. Again, you see the subheading, Babylon, America, will fall to the Medes. All right? The Russian Edomites. So verse 18 says, their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eye shall not spare children. Oh, and going back to verse 17, Russia was chilling. All right? You know, they probably doing their little, what you call, you know, subversive shit here or there. They all do. You know, in none of these countries squeaky clean. None of these heads of state squeaky clean. They all, you know, do their little covert missions or operations. But for the most part, Russia wasn't imposing sanctions on anybody, setting up military bases on other people's country. Russia had a good report for the most part around the world. They were trying to build with countries in building their own country. You know, and again, I'm not trying to paint Russia as some saint country. I'm just saying they wasn't the ones going around the world opposing people. They were chilling, you know, trying to get along with these other countries. An angry man on fire. So it says, behold, I, meaning the Most High, will stir up the Medes. And so this is why you got NATO with this proxy through Ukraine provoking the bear, being Russia. That's the Most High stirring up the Medes. All right? Because again, Russia was just trying to build their country, build their economy. You know, look out for their people. But NATO wouldn't let them do that. But the spirit is on them, and that's the whole point. This is the Most High's doing. He's going to bring about this third woe, whether these heads of state agree to it or not. And so you read 18, it says, their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eye shall not spare children. And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms. Who is that? All right. Is the Vatican the glory of kingdoms? No, it says of kingdoms. That's America. All right. Maybe not so much now, but at one point the whole world looked to see, well, what's America going to do? What's America doing? You know, countries that had their traditions in place for millennium, for generations, they looking to what's America doing? Because this was the glory of kingdoms. It says the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency. All right. It says shall be as when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. Showing you again that this shall be a lake of fire. Because the Most High destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, overthrew it with fire and brimstone. And you read the prophecy of Revelation 19 and 20, John say he saw, the false prophet and the beast cast, they was both cast into the lake of fire and brimstone. That's America. All right? Because the Most High is going to overthrow this place. Using who? The Medes. He's stirring up the Medes. Who's doing it? I mean, how is the Most High doing it, rather? Through NATO. North Atlantic Treaty Organization. And just to, we go out, Revelation 17. All right. So Revelation chapter, this one, the subheading here says the doom of Babylon. All right. So the other was Babylon will fall to the Medes. All right. This says the doom of Babylon. Showing you precept upon precept is how you draw forth the understanding. So it said Revelation 17 and 1, and there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 horns, or Salakia, having 7 heads and 10 horns. All right? So that woman is Babylon herself, America. She rides the beast of NATO and EU. Meaning she's at the head. She's calling the shots. She controls the direction of this beast. All right? We're going to place sanctions on this country, such as the Medes, Russia. All right? And who enforces that? The U.S. and NATO enforces those sanctions. All right? The U.S. say, we're going to place sanctions on Iran. Who's in league with the Medes? Iran and the Medes are in league. And so sanctions get placed on Iran. Why? Because the whore said so. And who enforces it? The beast. If they don't fall in line. All right? So this is just giving you an example of how this woman rides the beast. Trump, during both his campaigns, spoke about how America pays its unfair share, or basically more than the other countries combined in NATO, that they pay the most, and that shows you why. And then they was called out when Trump said, we're going to pull out of NATO. And then NATO called their bluff and said, all right, go ahead, do what you got to do. And Trump reneged. But they were saying, Trump was trying to say, we're not going to pay all this money no more if they didn't do something that basically U.S. was going to pull out of NATO. I forgot the exact particulars, but NATO called their bluff by saying, if you want to pull out, go ahead and pull out. And Trump didn't. And they continue to pay what they've been paying, because that shows you that. And what NATO was showing too is that, yeah, you paying the most because basically we're following your lead. You call the shots. That's what they were saying. It's the reason why you paying the most, because you're calling the shots. You know, and they was like, we're sick of it. So we'll oblige. If you want to leave, we'll oblige, because we're sick of following all of your calls. That's prophecy. That's the whore riding the beast. And the beast is getting ready to buck this whore and trample and catch him with them 10 horns. Like you see these videos where these trainers, you know, one that got trampled by an elephant, some of them that get gorged by these bulls or whatever. It's vicious, it's brutal. That's what's going to happen to the beast, or the whore. All right, so that's what it's talking about there. All right. The beast having the 7 horns, the 7 heads, and the 10 horns is NATO and the EU, in short. And that woman is America. All right, arrayed as it says in verse 4. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. All right, that's America. All right, so I believe that's pretty much it. Yep, back in Isaiah 13:20, it says, it shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there, meaning America. No one is going to set foot in this land ever again. When the Most High get through with it, you know, after this lake of fire cools down, it's going to be left as a desert wilderness. And that's the end of America. All right. So that's it for this lesson, pretty much. To the next one, Shalom.